For instructors who would like to create an online learning environment that mimics to some degree the classroom situation in which students can engage in discussion and exchanges of ideas, the form function is the ideal way to duplicate that in an online environment. In this particular film, I will show you how to create a form. And in the second half of the film, I will show you how to create a specific type of form called a Q&A form that might serve your needs a little bit better. So, as you can see, here is a form already created. This is what the student will see when he or she logs into the course. Now, I will show you how to make one from scratch. So, the first step is to come down to Create Learning Activity. Click on that. And then find the form function, which is right here. You click on that and Add. First, you'll need to name the form. A simple name is probably best. After that, you can select your form type. There are a number of different form types that you can choose from. I would think that the standard form for general use is the all-purpose form, and the one that if you're just learning how to use a form is probably the best one. It allows students and instructors to post to the form without any limitations whatsoever. After this, you'll need to include a description. If you have certain due dates on this form, and I'll show you how to set that up in a moment, then I recommend that you put them in bold at the top. Oh, sorry. I should add that when a student is submitting to a form, when a student clicks the button to post to the form, the system has a 1-hour lag to allow the student to edit the form post. So if you have a due date for 11 p.m. on a given day, and the student posts at 10:55, the system is going to read that as being late because it will not actually post to the form until 11:55. So you may want to mention that to the students either in the instructions here or in a syllabus if you're setting this up for the beginning of the semester. If there is a minimum word count, then I would also include that here or certainly in the instructions. And then I'm not going to bother creating instructions, but I will just simply say, this is a form. Please, respond. If you would like the description displayed on the main page of your particular unit or week, you'll click this box here, and that will ensure that the students will be able to see the instructions prior to accessing the form. Now then, there are a number of things on the right-hand side that may or may not prove helpful to you, but I will show them to you anyway. Attachments and word count. You can allow students to attach documents to their form posts if you want. Here you can determine or limit the size of the attachments, or you can also limit the number. I generally don't allow my students to attach anything to their posts because it's unnecessary. If you have a minimum word count and would like to see what the word count is, if you'd like to see a display, click here to display the word count. I always do that because I always have a minimum word count. Subscription and tracking. If you want to be subscribed to this form, you can set that here, and that would allow you and force your students as well. You can allow yourself and your students to subscribe to the form. Let me restate this. And what this will do is anytime somebody posts to the form, you will receive a notification or in your email with that form post. So in some ways that can be good. In other ways, especially if you have multiple classes with multiple forms all due at roughly the same time, it can really clutter up your inbox. So generally, I tend to disable the subscriptions and I turn off the read tracking. That way my inbox is not cluttered up. I will disregard this. I want to go to ratings instead. You can use your form simply to allow students to talk to each other, but you can also use it as a way where they can critically engage, and you can grade their posts and their responses to each other. If you are going to do that, I do recommend that you create some kind of rubric so that the students are aware of the expectations as far as content, style, and structure of their forms, of their form posts and their responses in advance, so that way they know what it is you're evaluating them on. If you choose to use the ratings function, then you can click here and you can select what kind of aggregate type. I will tell you what I normally do. I usually have my students post a response to a question or a prompt, and their post can earn a maximum of 6 points. I also have them respond to other students' posts, and those receive a maximum of 3 points each. So that's a total of 12 points. I'm going to show you how I set this up. If I'm going to do that, then I use the aggregate type sum of ratings, because I wanted to add the points from 3 different posts, the initial post and the 2 responses. I set, of course, the maximum grade to 12. That's 6 plus 3 plus 3. Then if you want to create a due date, then you click this button here to set up a range. This will initiate the beginning of the rating period. So I generally, if I have a class that begins on Monday, I will generally set the beginning time as midnight on either Sunday or Monday, depending. And then I generally like to give my students a week to complete something, so I'm going to set this for Sunday, and I usually set it for 11 o'clock at night, 11 p.m. Just to point out, I do have that set right here. Oh, I should probably bold that. And now, students can post to the form whenever they want. They can post early, they can post late. There's nothing that keeps them from posting. However, you will not be able to assign any points to any of their posts if those posts are submitted before or after the range dates. So if a student submits a post on March 22nd at 11:01, then the box that you would use to grade that particular student's post will not appear. It will not allow you to assign points. Okay. I will show you the common module settings only for one reason, and that is if you're using groups, and probably since most of y'all are simply starting out, you're not using groups, please make sure that you click on the group mode and click no groups. If you don't do that, the students will not be able to access the form. So please make sure as you're setting up to set this at no groups. Were I designing this for a comprehensive instruction, I would go into greater detail about some of these other options here on the right. But since this is a kind of crash course, I'm going to stop here because this allows you to, this gives you the information you need to set up effectively a basic form that can allow your students to interact with each other and to demonstrate their comprehension of subject matter in an environment where they can respond to each other. So once you're done, click on Save and Return to Course. And here we are. There's the form as we set it up. And as you can see, because we clicked on the box, the description appears here on the main page. Now, I said I would spend a little bit of time talking about the Q&A form. I'm going to do that here at this moment. If you want to get back into your form to edit it, then you click on this button here. Now, all you have to do is to click under Form Type and click Q&A Form and save. Now, what the Q&A form does is it allows you to force students to post before they see any other students' posts. In my experience, students will sometimes read other students' posts and then copy parts of them, or sometimes wholesale copying, at other times simply rephrasing what other students have said, which leads to questions or issues regarding academic integrity, and it impedes students thinking originally about whatever the topic or question is. So by creating a Q&A form, you are forcing the students to compose and think prior to seeing anybody else's work. Now, in order for a student to post, you have to post the question that you want the students to respond to the form itself. In order to post to the form, you click on the form link and then click on Add a New Question. Select the subject or identify the subject. I like to say week 4 prompt. And then whatever your prompt is, whatever the question is, type it here. And then you have the option, you can send it out immediately so that it's available the minute that you post it, or there will be that time delay that I mentioned with student posts. The same thing applies to an instructor's post. You, of course, have the option of disregarding that delay. The students do not. So that's up to you, but I do recommend that you pin this. By pinning, you make certain that the question will always appear at the top of a particular thread. And I'll show you an example of how these forms look here in a moment with an example from one of my classes. So I do recommend that you click the pin button, then you post to the form, and there it is. Now, when a student logs into the form, this is all they will see is the prompt. They will then click on the discussion prompt and hit reply, and that's how they will post their post. Once they have done that, then they will be able to see all the other replies to the prompt, meaning all of the other students' posts. And if you're requiring students to respond to other students' posts, which seems to me to be the great advantage of using the form, then they will be able to do that at that time, but not before. Now, I'll just show you here in a moment. I'm going to pause this film, and I'm going to go to an example of what this looks like when it's being practiced. Bam! Now, we're in the form for my Intro to Philosophy class. This is last week's form, so I haven't graded anything. When it comes time for me to grade, you have a couple of options. One is you could click here, and as you can see, there's my prompt. Notice there are 35 replies. You'll want to click on the replies, and hopefully MyCourses will work here. I'm going to pause, and there we go. So each one of these represents a response to the prompt. So this is the student's initial response. I'll click here. And as you can see, the word count appears here on the left. This is where you rate. So for me, I'm not going to rate them right now, but I give the initial post, as I mentioned before, up to 6 points. So I would click 6 if I wanted to give this student the full points. If there was a problem according to the rubric that I've created, the student may only get 4. Okay. Let me back out of this so that doesn't think. These, of course, are responses to or replies to that student's post. So again, I would rate them in the same way. These responses get up to 3 points. So if I thought this was a good response, I notice it fulfills the minimum word requirement, so that figures into my grading here. And if this is a valid response, if it's one that takes the student's post seriously, then I'll give it 3 points. If there's a violation of something in the rubric, then obviously I'll give it less. That's why when you're setting the form, that's when you're setting the aggregate, how you want the ratings to figure into the student's grade. Using sum of ratings allows you to add all of those different ratings together so the student has an overall point value for each assignment. Now, in the event that you choose to use a form, let me show you the easiest way to grade. Okay, and that would be to click on the administration button over here, and then go down to, excuse me, I need to go back out one more, forgive me. Okay, and then go to the administration button here, and go down to users, and enrolled users, and then click on a student. And here, of course, is how you access all of the student's information. That includes, of course, the other classes the student's taking, etc. And then click on Form Posts. This will give you a listing of all the posts that the student has posted to. Now, as you might note, this student did not submit to to the week 8 form. I'm not quite sure exactly why that is, but nevertheless, she did not. So as you can see, you can rate each one of these individually. So it allows you to grade a student's form posts student by student, as opposed to going through the sometimes confusing task of looking, to go back here again, of going back to the thread created by your prompt and grading each one of these individually. You can certainly do that if you want to. There's nothing that prevents you from doing it. It's just that sometimes I've, at least in the past, kind of gotten lost as to exactly where I was in the process of grading here. So you have those two options. And I think that's it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything more that I need to communicate to you about the form. There is information in the manual that we have put up on this particular MyCourses sort of emergency training course. So where I've tried to cover that, what I've shown you here, I've tried to cover that in a more succinct manner. If you have any questions, of course, I don't have a problem responding to an email request or an email question. I hope this has been helpful. I do apologize for some of the herky-jerkiness of this since my course is cut out on a couple of occasions. Good luck and take care.